Welcome to Jump in the River, where faith, hope, and real-life discipleship flow together.
Welcome to the Jump in the River podcast. This is episode, I think we said 7, it might be 8, I don't know, I've lost track. But as you can see, we have some dear friends and wonderful guests, Mike and Nicole Stanley, who have a absolutely powerful testimony, as you guys will see shortly. And just God's using them in great and mighty ways. And we just, the Lord really prompted me to get them on here, and I'm thankful they're here. And we want to welcome you guys, man. Welcome.
Thank you. Bless you guys. You guys are awesome.
You guys are awesome as well. Oh, and I got to do a quick plug. Also, Daniel's Devotion on Amazon.
Yes.
We got to plug the book, but so get that book when you guys get a chance. And all right,
and the episode about Daniel's
and the
devotion.
episode,
that was amazing.
that was good.
Yeah.
That was very good. So let's dive in.
Okay, I guess just history. See, I grew up in California. I'm kind of I'm a Gen Xer, so I was an 80s kid, graduated in 88. So not a faith-filled family. On my mother's side, I do remember going to church a little bit. Grew up in Southern California when I was younger, and I remember going to, Crystal Cathedral? Mm-hmm. Schuler? What was his name? Robert Schuler or something? Mm-hmm. Anyway, he was a pretty famous guy, and so I do remember that a couple times, getting smacked in the head to wake up, but that but that was about all I remember. And my dad was completely the opposite.
Yeah.
And so that was a little bit difficult in that sense, as far as I was told one thing on one side and the opposite on the other. So as a kid, actually, I kind of swung to my dad's side to be like, yeah, I'm not going either,
Yeah.
So I moved to Northern California when I was a little bit older. I think it was a different time then. We were just kind of left alone to our own devices,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
and both my parents were at work. My dad was kind of ex-law enforcement, but then got into some other stuff when we moved to Northern California, and he was more the authoritative one, and I think that didn't go well with me. We had a thing later on. So that just kind of pushed me off into, I was always a kind of a sensitive kid, but really in my heart.
Right.
But then I almost felt like that was a weakness, and I had to crush that thing. 'Cause from his side, I got the don't cry and rah, and that kind of thing. So it's like, I'm trying to shut that down. And I kind of learned at an early age, the best way to do that was with anger, So I would just get mad and just, in my own mind and inside me, that to shut off feelings. And I felt that was a way to protect myself and to not show those emotions and not be weak.
A defense mechanism.
Right, right. So at an early age, I started getting into drugs and alcohol. That was the just say no on drugs, gangster hip hop, crack epidemic.
The Reagan era.
That was the time, So I grew up, and when I kind of veered off, I was always into it, athletics. Wrestling was mainly my thing, and I was really good at that. And I could have went somewhere with that. Probably I had scholarship offers and stuff, but I chose not to do that. I was just going to take a year off, because my plan growing up watching Miami Vice was, I'm just going to be a drug dealer and I'm going to make a bunch of money,
Oh my goodness.
because where I fed in at that point was the whole party culture. That's just what we did. So that legitimately was my plan.
Do you think that the defense of like not showing your sensitivity because you've seen it as a weakness, do you think that like turned into anger and then turned into rebellion?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I was, and the dynamic with my dad made me very rebellious against authority, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was definitely part of it. But I realized pretty quick that I was not the kind of person that managed drinking
Yeah.
and drugs well. It was
No.
like all or nothing,
Yeah.
which is kind of it's a curse and a blessing at the same time. So it was 17 or 18. I landed, I woke up in the parking lot of a rehab facility my parents were taking me to. And that was my first experience with basically being exposed to recovery. And I was in a 30-day inpatient rehab facility. And then after that, they sent me to Minnesota. Well, first day out of the rehab, there was one day layover before I was going to get on a plane, and they were sending me to Minnesota. And
Did you relapse?
I relapsed that night.
Wow.
I went to a party and relapsed
Wow.
that night. So, and then got hammered on the plane. So went into the halfway house, getting off the plane drunk into a rehab facility, into a halfway house.
Yeah.
When they still accepted me. But that lasted about 2 weeks till there was a bar around the corner called the Nasty Habit. And
I think that says it all, right?
I know, right? and that me and another guy from the place decided we were going to go check that place out one night. And I ended up waking up after a complete blackout in some house with some girl in Minnesota and not even knowing where I was at. So that was the end of that. They kicked me out, went back to California, still in full-blown addiction. And at that point, it got really bad really fast. And I think it only took about 6 months until I was in jail. And basically, long story short, ended up getting, at 18 years old, a 10-year prison sentence.
Wow.
And at that point, I just pretty much assumed my life was over. You know what I mean? When you're 18 and you're told you have to go to prison for 10 years, it's like game over.
Welcome to adulthood. Here's your first start.
Exactly. And I was kind of wild and I was kind of aggressive. So I kind of figured I needed to be that way, to survive in that environment.
We'll make a statement, right?
Right. So I was that way in the county jail, which was a bunch of fights and problems. And I didn't realize at that point, I was like, well, none of this really matters. I'm gone anyway. Well, I didn't realize that they put all that stuff in a file and it goes with you.
It does.
And when you get to the correctional facility, they look at that file and they go, oh, okay, tough guy, or whatever it is.
We know right where we're going to put you
exactly.
at.
I went into a level 4 maximum security Folsom prison
Oh my
at
goodness.
19 years old. And yeah.
Wow.
Talk about a rude awakening.
Yeah.
That cell door slamming shut there was a crazy rude awakening. So, but I mean, it's amazing what you can endure. I just had the ability to disassociate and just shut that stuff down and survive. Wow. That's just how it was. But the first guy, they put you in a lockup facility.
Wild.
You're
wild.
for like a month until you go through orientation and all this kind of stuff, and they classify you. And the first cellmate I had was a big biker guy that was, I think, I don't remember where it's from, Reading or something, but basically he had 2 life sentences without possibility of parole for murder for hire.
Oh my gosh.
And was talking to me about having people's heads in a bucket and playing with their eyeballs. Yeah. I didn't sleep well.
At 19 years old.
At 19 years old.
Wow.
It was not good, and, but
Guard.
yeah, it's like, but really, that's not an option. Yeah, I mean, it is an option, and a lot of
Right.
people take that option, but it's a whole different.
You put
road.
yourself in a different category at that point.
You put yourself.
when
You
do
almost
that, yeah.
invite, more problems in a
Soft,
certain sense.
So,
I got through that, and I don't know. I guess I was just blessed in the sense that I never really had a lot of problems. I boxed. I was involved in a boxing program. They had a boxing ring on the yard, and I wasn't involved in the whole gang type situation, which is where the majority of the problems go in there. So
how many years did you end up serving?
I ended up serving 5.5.
Okay.
I got out when I was 25. So,
And prior to that, and like you said, the cell door shutting was kind of the rude awakening.
Yeah,
but really, kind of before that, your mentality was still just life's a party, or did you ever have did you ever come to your senses at all before landing yourself in jail?
I think there was probably a brief moment in recovery and some of the meetings where some things started clicking a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot. I remember being in like meetings and stuff and thinking, why are these people here? They have principles in spirituality and God, and I was very anti-God. I was not willing
to
do that. And so I pretty much just shut that down.
Wow.
Fast forward, I could go on. There's lots of crazy stuff, but
it's funny too.
But I ended up
I'm already learning things I
getting
didn't
married.
know.
I ended up getting married in prison.
Oh, wow.
I started talking to this woman. We could go into the backstory of that, but basically, I guess I might as well. She used to be my aunt. She was my mom's younger brother's wife.
Okay.
They got divorced.
Okay.
We had a connection, so she was just kind of a pen pal, and that grew into this connection, and we ended up getting married.
Believe it or not, I've actually heard wilder in-law marrying.
So in 1994, I got out in 1995. We got married in 1994, and I think ultimately that played a huge part in my life and really kind of saved my life in the sense that it got me out of that old culture that I was in. So when I did parole, we just moved in together, and she was an older woman. Mm-hmm. She was 18 years older than me.
Wow.
So yeah, I was 24 and she was 40 or something, yeah. So that, and she
42,
wasn't involved in that kind of life, and her dad was an alcoholic, so she hated drinking, and she wasn't involved in drugs in any way, and I didn't want to be anymore. So it made it easy to make that transition, at least away from that into sobriety. She was very spiritual in a way, but it was more New Age. Buddhism, kind of this hodgepodge of everything. Mm-hmm. She was Christian, but I think had like some serious church hurt and then steered more towards the New Age type stuff.
Yeah.
Which I tried to embrace a little bit, and but it really didn't have any power within me,
Yeah.
New Age is like spirituality without accountability. And so that's why when someone gets like hurt in church or something or in a relationship, they can gravitate to New Age because then they don't have to be actually accountable to anybody else or a body.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So fast forward, we're married for 20 years, 19 years.
Oh, wow.
And in 2013, I wake up one morning going to work, and she's having a heart attack. And I hear her call me from downstairs. And I knew instantly that something was wrong. So I go running down there, and she's like in the middle of a full-blown heart attack. So call 911, do that whole deal. Ambulance comes. We go to the hospital. This is in Corvallis. And they can't stop it. And they can't medicate her because her blood pressure is so low. So they did emergency surgery and take her into surgery. And I remember her telling me at that point, tell the kids I love them. Say goodbye to the kids. Tell them. I'm like, no, you're going to be okay. You can tell them.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be okay. She had something in her that she knew.
Wow.
And at that point, Jamie, her daughter, my stepdaughter, had triplets that we were taking care of.
Oh my goodness.
She was taking care of the triplets most of the time. Her mom, who was 80 years old, legally blind, used a walker. We were taking care of her. She was living at our house. I remember waiting in the hallway and code blue, which is somebody's heart stopped, and I didn't know. I know that now. I kind of knew that then.
Yeah.
But long story short, she died on the table a couple times and was gone for so long they couldn't. She had suffered brain damage. So she made it through the surgery, but she was on life support. So I went from that morning, life's normal, everything's great, to wow, you're going to have to unplug my wife of 20 years, which she had what do they call that? The
DNA.
Well, it's kind of
DNR.
Basically, this is what, don't put me on life support and don't do this. So I knew that's not how she wanted to be. So we made that decision to do that. And that's where my life really just was turned upside down. I can't explain that feeling. And this is all without God, without really any faith. Right. And the God that I thought I knew, I was really mad at because now he took my wife, and everything she had told me, which was, we have this connection, and if anything happens, you'll know I'm there, and you'll know I'm with you. And I'm like, hello, where are you? I'm not feeling nothing here, and it spiraled really quick. I mean, I couldn't take care of her mom. We still had a mortgage. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, if you look at your history and the path that you took, you really were in a bipolar lifestyle.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it was like, okay, now I'm a kid. I can't express my feelings. So now I got to crush my heart feelings for a minute. So I build this stone wall around my heart.
Absolutely.
And then it goes to anger. And now I'm like getting in trouble. Now I get in trouble and I'm still angry from that built up. So that's the tactic of the enemy, how he builds and builds and builds and builds. And then it's
absolutely.
Like to where I'm seeing this pattern, and I see this a lot, Then you finally get some stability. And then something like this happens,
Right.
And it's just devastating.
I never thought of it like that.
Revisit all of that again.
True.
And then he adds that on top of it. So now you're really carrying something.
Right.
So.
Well, and like you said, you didn't know the Lord.
No.
Really. And so all of that prior pain and disappointment and hurt and anger was still never made whole or healed, so that when another tragedy comes, it's still just build up instead of like, I faced tragedy before, I can get through this.
And she was a massage therapist, and she was all into holistic medicine and all this stuff, and had I remember this giant basket of all these supplements and all this stuff. Then she was really took all that stuff really, and had just had a physical like a month prior and was given a clean bill of health. And I remember grabbing those box of pills and threw them. I threw those things across the room. A lot of good news, did you? It was horrible. And so I made it like, I was like literally just Twilight Zone for probably a month. Like it doesn't even feel real. I'm just like waking up and going to sleep, and I had insomnia, and I couldn't eat, and I got to the point where I couldn't work because I would just be breaking down at work. I'm on a construction site, just sobbing, you know what I mean? Uncontrollably. Like, I brought myself.
These guys are like, I don't know about this carpenter.
Exactly. I brought myself to the mental health place in Corvallis one day going, I can't deal with this, you know what I mean? And they didn't know what to do with me.
Right.
They sent me to some grief counseling class.
Oh, wow.
And I sat there in the parking lot, and I looked at all these old people going by in walkers, and I'm like, yeah, this is not going to work, you know? And at that point, I made a conscious decision that I'm just going to drink my way through
I'm going to numb it.
I'm going to numb it. I got no choice here. And it seemed really logical and like a really good decision. I'm just going to drink for a year. And I had a time frame. I went to the liquor store. I bought half the liquor store, stocked a full bar, and I made it like 1 week to like, this is horrible. I felt horrible. I couldn't deal with it. I hadn't been drinking, and it just made it worse. So then the natural progression, that is back to the drugs then. So I went out seeking cocaine, which was my drug of choice back in the day. And at this point, in 2013 in Oregon, nobody has cocaine. It's all meth. Everybody and their brother has
it's
meth.
The Miami Vice show.
And I know nobody. So I'm literally at the bar like, you happen to have any cocaine? You know, I'm having a hard time, you know. So, you know, interestingly enough, it doesn't take long to find those people.
It's right there.
But it was meth that I ended up going to, and it's funny. And
just because it was easier to access.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's cheaper too.
Wow.
And it did the trick. It took me out of reality. The problem is, it took me way out of reality. Because I literally
to the edge of life.
Right. I literally went from like snorting to smoking crystal meth to shooting up in like a month.
Oh my God.
Whatever I could do more that could get me out of what I was feeling, I wanted it, you know, and I mean, part of the problem was it was like I had all this grief that's like just normal, but I didn't know how to deal with it. And then I also had all this guilt and shame, which I think is probably part of grief that I didn't know it, because you're automatically like, God, I could have been a better this. I should have done this better. I could have done that better. So I'm trying to kill all that stuff, and then I'm doing all this stuff, which is creating more, and it's just this endless spiral.
And the Lord ain't in your life, so you have no resource for any of what do I tap into to help with this?
I had one guy that I worked with that was a legit Christian, just devout Christian, and we worked together for 10 years, and he trained me a lot in what I do in finished carpentry, and he ministered to me all the time, and I was always respectful and kind of like,
no, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good. You know, I don't want to give up my stuff. You know, basically is what it came down to.
But he just kept sowing seed.
Yeah, and he just kept sowing seed, and he's the one that bailed me out. He was the one that brought me into his house after all this happened. You know, so anyway. Basically, long story short, it took me 2 years to burn down my life completely. I had a house, cars, all of that stuff. And it's all gone, and I'm in jail again. Because I just used to the point where I would lose reality. And basically, it's just like this psychosis where you're just running and anything could happen. I'm thinking people are trying to kill me, and there's this weird spiritual war going on too. I remember that very clearly.
Wow.
This good and evil spiritual war, and having hallucinations and seeing things and hearing things, and it was hell. It was torment, you know.
Well, hell was after you.
Yeah, absolutely. But then that led right into my salvation story, because that's where I had a serious encounter with God in a jail cell after one of those crazy episodes. So I don't know if you want to come back to that after Nicole, because that's kind of
let's jump over here, and then we'll kind of tie all this together, because that's where the power is, really, is once you guys get to where that ties back together. It's so good. So you're up, Nicole.
I'm the second oldest of 8. I think there was 6, and then my mom, her third husband, had 2. And so I grew up, my mom, we always had Bible study.
Yeah.
When we were younger. We had Bible study. My dad was not in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So the 6 of us, 2 of us share the same dad, the rest of them have different dads. Okay. So actually the last 2 have the same dad too. So, so none of the dads were in the pictures. Mm. So I distinctly remember my dad reaching out to my brother and talking to him, but not talking to me. Mm-hmm. So I remember distinctly my mom telling me when I was a baby that that I cried all the time, that she couldn't take care of me. She had to have people come take care of me because she had to sleep sometimes. So, and that I was always into things. I was always in trouble. Like, I remember those things. And then, but I remember her teaching us about God too.
Yeah.
Right? We would have Bible study, and I'm sure she was stumbling through her relationship with Jesus. Yeah. Right? And then my mom she met this guy at a restaurant that she worked at, and he looked like Kenny Rogers. So I thought she was marrying Kenny Rogers. And he's not
So
Kenny
you
Rogers.
were like, yes.
Yeah. So he's not Kenny Rogers. But he had moved us into a new house, and we had a new car, and one day he didn't come home. He went out for ice cream and didn't come home. And we didn't know where he was. And we ended up moving out of that house.
Wow.
Having to get rid of the car, and then there was my brother's dad in there somewhere. So she's married to Scott, but she meets this other guy, and we lived with him for a while. But while they're living together, he says, "I can't be with you anymore because I feel like I'm going to molest your daughters." So he moves out. He didn't ever touch us, but he's like, I can't do this. I got to move out. So that wasn't nice of him.
Yeah.
But I remember my mom being depressed. But then she got a letter from Scott, is my stepdad that she married. He when he went out for milk or ice cream or whatever he went out for, he had been arrested and he was wanted for forgery. He's right. So he this whole time while there's this going on, we get taken from my mom.
Wow.
Like DHS comes and takes us from her. And it's probably, she tells me it's my fault. I did something I did. And I don't remember. I don't remember the whole story. But this caseworker had something against my mom. And so they came and got us all. So they had half of us go here and half of us go here. And while we're in foster care, she hooks back up with Scott. And they're living up in Twin Falls, Idaho. And somehow we go get books from my grandma's house for my school, and I leave the address of where we're living, and all of the foster parents work together with my mom, and she comes and gets us and takes us away from. She steals us. So.
Oh wow.
So she steals us
with the help of the foster parents.
Yes, they all helped her. She came and got us all, and I just remember going. We moved in with him. Well, I think it was Twin Falls or either Boise. I think it was Boise. I can't remember. I was young. It was either Twin Falls, Idaho, or Boise. And so, and this starts a long road of. I've lived in 13 or 11 different states and had 3 different last names. Went, yeah. So we went on the run a lot. From the police. So, yeah.
Wow.
We lived in a lot of motel rooms. We really close together, not wanting to, just forced to.
Yeah.
And I learned blood is thicker than water. You don't tell people the truth about your family, but if you lie to us, you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's a real cognitive dissonance inside of me. So my mom, I missed an important part. God told my mom not to marry this man, and she married him.
Talking about Scott.
Yeah.
Okay.
She married him. But he had told, God said, do not marry this man. And she married him. And so this whole time that she's married to him, she feels like she's not supposed to divorce him because God says, divorce is not good. So she ends up staying with him forever. I mean, like for a long time. But he's an alcoholic. He's like an abusive alcoholic, and he's a dangerous alcoholic. And I just remember him being drunk a lot and wanting to burn down places and just stuff like that. Coming and getting my older brother Tori, saying we're going to go to this place. He went and played cards, and they were going to go burn it down because they won all his money or something. And he would spend all of our money. We would be in motel rooms, and we wouldn't have anything. Like, I just, yeah. And then, one time we were in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he wanted to go to Gallup, New Mexico. Vice versa. I just know we were in Gallup. And he wanted to take me and 2 of my siblings. So my mom let us go. And while I was there, he molested me. And I remember being afraid to tell. When I was younger, my brother messed around with me, my older brother. And I never told anybody. That seemed to be like a frequent thing in my life where people would take advantage of me.
Yeah.
So, I think it was, we were in Gallup and then we went to Tulsa. And it was like 6 or 7 months after that, right? And I remember sitting with my mom and I told her. And she asked my brother, because I told her about my brother first. And then I told her about my dad, stepdad. And my brother said, no, I never did any of that. She's just lying. She's lying. And so my mom would come back to me and she thought I was lying.
And about how old were you at this time?
12. I was about 12 years old.
Oh, geez. Okay, I was way off on the timeline
Yeah.
there. Wow.
I was about 12.
Okay.
So she was going to confront Scott, right? And she put me on a plane to my grandma's house back in Idaho. To put me, and at 12 years old, she told me just to keep me safe.
Yeah.
Right? In my brain, it was like I did something wrong.
Yeah.
And I needed to be taken away from the family.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how I felt. I mean, like, because I still have all that, like, you used to cry all the time and you're into everything, you're in trouble. So all that stuff is still in there. And my dad, not having a dad, and it was my fault, right?
Well, and when your mom stays with the man that apparently perpetrated against you and instead sends you away, but she stays with him, that's the message a child gets, is that she's staying with him instead of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry. And so I went to live with my grandma, and that didn't work out very well either. I'm already a rebellious kid. And I do lie. I mean, I'm always lying. I couldn't tell the truth if I knew it.
Well, you were trained. You were trained that way, though.
You were brought up to lie.
I mean, when you're
it's
trained
a real
that way,
dissonance inside of. I mean, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Right.
You didn't know
I mean,
it.
like I'm 54 and I'm just now discovering stuff
Yeah.
like, oh wow, that's probably why that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and I think the whole time I'm thinking it's Scott is the problem, right? I wouldn't find out till later that I was so mad at my mom.
Yeah.
I was so mad at my mom.
Yeah.
So, the cops got involved because she had kidnapped us, right, from Idaho. So once I went back into Idaho schools, they flagged me. And when my mom tried to get me out, came and got me, they weren't going to let me go. She had to take me again.
Oh, jeez.
So if I didn't know if I was wanted, I know I'm wanted.
Yeah.
Took me and then we ended up going to, I don't know where we were. I think we were in Utah. And I ran away a lot. Scott gave me my first drink and my first drug. Like,
And your first drug, what was that?
it was marijuana.
Oh.
So,
And so after your mom stole you again,
right.
you were back in the house with Scott again?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. So I think I told it in reverse, though. I drank, he gave me the drink and the drug first.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not being loved.
Yeah.
I thought that's the way people showed love, is
Right.
they would give you, that stuff. And then when he molested me, that just, like, oh, this is the way, now we get along.
Yeah.
Now I'm accepted,
Yeah.
And so that puts I know that sounds really sick, but that's in my mind.
Yeah.
That reaffirms,
Well, again, as a kid, it's even the Bible talks about train up a child in the way they should go.
Yeah.
Well, that is the opposite of that, right? And so, that's a legit thing that I didn't know any better. This is what I thought it was, So
yeah. So when I would run away, I would run to things that were not good for me, right? But I thought that's what people wanted. I didn't.
Well, also, I'm sorry, I keep seeing this stuff the Lord's showing me. I'm like, whoa. Also, you also kept revisiting the drugs and the alcohol because that was the place where you felt accepted.
Yeah. Yep. It's true.
Because that's when he gave you felt that was your place of safety, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, and it numbed me.
Right.
The numbing.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, I have a lazy eye that has always bothered me, and it got me in a lot of fights. And so I didn't care. When I drank and used, I didn't care what people thought about me.
Yeah.
Right.
Some liquid courage there.
Yeah. So I was in, I was in and out of the home. And Scott was in a blackout when he molested me. Right. So he doesn't.
So he didn't even remember.
Right. So when my mom confronted him, he's like, "Oh no,"
Right.
Right. But one time he brought it up to me when he was not drunk.
Wow.
So what he?
Yeah.
I think he really knew what he did.
Yeah.
But as a recovering alcoholic, I've had blackouts.
Yeah.
And so, in my story, I have a lot of forgiveness. I have a lot of forgiveness for people. And so, I was in and out of the home. At 19, I became a IV drug user. During that time, my mom divorced Scott. She asked God to either, let her out of the marriage or, do something, And he asked for a divorce. But during that time, my mom found out that he molested his own daughter, his blood daughter, and my little Danielle too. So a couple of my sisters. So it wasn't just me that he did that to. And I didn't know that. I didn't know until my other stepdad died. They came, anyway. They came and stayed the night, and they had told me when my other dad died. But through all that, I became an IV drug user at 19. And my mom had found out that I was using drugs. She met this guy, Steve, who did not want nothing to do with me. He's like, I don't know why you help her out. You just need to leave her alone. And she had sent me to rehab, and I got off the bus before
Before you ever made it into rehab?
Yeah. And I went and visited my dad's relatives. I didn't know any of them. So I went to visit them, and just like a tornado in people's lives.
So how old were you at this point?
I was 19 still. I'm in that, this is a long process. 19 was a long year.
Yeah. No, I get it.
So what happened was I was going to...
Long year for me, too. We got that in common, too.
I think I ended up...
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, I never thought about that. That's true.
Yeah.
Woo. 19s were no bueno.
I think that what had happened was that she was sending me to the Walter Harvey Home for Women in California. I went for a week or something. I can't remember. No, that's after. Anyway, she sent me on a bus to California, and this guy had some cocaine, and I got off the bus with him, and we smoked crack for a while. And he about killed me. And so I'm not laughing because he about killed me. I'm laughing because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I'm in these people's houses. His parents are like, "Who is this girl you brought home?" You know, that would happen to me a lot too. Like, I'd wake up in people's houses and they'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I ended up going to back to Idaho, to where my dad's family is, and they're Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
They're just looking to convert people.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Yeah.
Until they found, until I started doing drugs in their town, and they're like, oh my God.
Wreaking havoc.
People were like, stay away from that girl.
Get out of town.
Yeah. So I was just, I was in and out of people's lives. I moved to Twin Falls to where my grandma's sister, Rowena, my Aunt Rowena, and I moved in with them, and I was drinking and using there. And they said I had to do something different, so I went to some AA and NA meetings up there.
Okay.
And God was not a big part of my life right then.
Yeah.
But when I went to the meetings, I met a man. That would be the story of my life, is I met a man. And
Until you met the man.
the man. Yeah. And so, I think it was like maybe January. I started dating this guy, Stacy, and drank and used with each other. He was not faithful. I was still 19. And he told me one time, he grabbed me by the throat and told me if I ever left him, if I got pregnant and left him, that he would kill me or something like that. And I was like, I'm not going to do it to me.
Yeah.
And I hitchhiked back to Albany, 3 trucks, 24 hours.
Oh my
Right?
goodness.
Yeah. It took me 3. And I had called my mom. When I went to California, my mom says, you can't come home. And, don't come home. Don't come back until you. And when I called her, God had already talked to her and said, she's coming home. Let her in. And when I got home, she says, you can't live in my house unless you're going to some kind of recovery, and so I went to AA at 19, and I think I was like 5 months away from 20, so it was almost over.
The 19s.
Yeah. So in July, I was like starting to not feel right. I was like, what's wrong with me? Things were missing, and I was like, I went to the doctor and I was pregnant. So, and it was Stacy's baby. But I remember the feeling like my whole life, I just felt like I wasn't loved. And I felt like if I had a baby, that baby would love me no matter what. Well, that's not true. It's probably true. It's just the way I perceive love was not the way it happened. Like the first time she cried all night, it was like, oh my God, I can't do this. Right? And what had happened was that I was not okay inside. And I couldn't take care of a kid.
Yeah.
And my best friend, Dana, he ended up, I was drinking and we were living together, and we weren't together. We were just friends. And I was drinking and using. At 22, I decided to go back out. So from 20 to 22. And one night I had blacked out. He says, I can't let you do this to your daughter anymore. And I remember the distinct feeling of, well, now I can do what I want. I'm glad that this is,
Yeah.
And so that would lead into, off and on, in and out of her life. And I'd have some sobriety, and then my parents would give her back to me, be like 2 weeks into it, and they'd be like giving her back. And I didn't know how to take care of a kid.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I can't do this. And then I'd be gone for a year or 2 years.
Wow.
That was in Albany.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just living on the street in Albany. And my mom had married that Steve guy, and they tried. My mom always helped me, and Steve's like, I don't know why you help her.
Yeah.
Just let her go.
Yeah.
And God, my mom said God told me to help her, so she helped me. And I don't know if it enabled me more. You know, if somebody would have just said, "Hey," nobody ever called DHS on me. I mean, DHS did give me. I guess they did give me a neglect charge, but I didn't know about it. But DHS was not in my life because either Dana had my child or my mom and dad had Tanika. And you know, I was living in recovery one time, and I just got a whim and went and used, and left her there at this people's house. And that happened a lot. To it, yeah, it just happened a lot, and I would try. I mean, I would try to do good, and it just didn't like. I come into AA and they'd be like, "You need to do this," and I'd be like, "I'm not doing that. I do what I want."
Yeah.
And I had this God in my life, like because of that cognitive dissonance inside of me, I just like. I thought that God was like a slot machine, or like a, you know, like you could rub him and make a wish, or
Yeah.
it was like Santa Claus.
No,
like,
that's a real thing.
or
honestly.
it was like somebody would say something to me. I'm like, well, did you know the Bible says this, and you shouldn't tell me this, and don't judge me. And like I used them like a battle axe or a weapon.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a get out of jail free card in my back pocket that I just used to get people to keep them away from me, to protect myself. Like,
but it just speaks to the deep brokenness that was in in the depths of your soul.
Yeah.
Like,
and I ended up going to treatment in Eugene. I met my ex-husband, Mark. We were together for 2 weeks and moved in. Into my friend's house. Because I was not self-supporting through my own contribution. We were living at my friend Scott's house, and
Welcome to Alcoholics Anonymous. Somebody move in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And well,
we're in love.
and I thought, you know, I really thought he was my Prince Charming. Well, and at that time, he was.
Yeah.
I really loved Mark, really a lot. But two alcoholics that have never been sober before, you know, like trying to get sober, you know. I stayed sober for a long time. And we got married, and we had a baby, Jacob. And I came home one day, and the swings, you know, the baby swings. I came home, and Jacob was almost falling out of it, and Mark was drunk. And I was so disenchanted. I was just like, how could you do that? Like, and then I got in a bunch of trouble. I was driving illegally. I have 19 drivable suspended tickets, so I didn't learn it the first time.
This number 19 keeps coming back.
It is.
That is not a good number for you guys.
But I got put. My son was a month old, and I got put in Marion County Jail because I got arrested, and I had warrants in Marion County because some of my criminal behavior might have allegedly wrote some checks. I wrote some checks that were mine. I wonder where I learned that from.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
So I didn't learn. I don't know. I'd like to blame him for it, but it's not his fault.
But that's a good point, because look at the generational situations that you find yourself in, you know, because, I mean, these situations have been before you, and like, until until God comes and makes a change and sets you free from those things, I mean, they can follow you.
Yeah. I stayed sober for 3 years, and Mark would drink sometimes, and then he wouldn't drink, and then he would drink sometimes, and I'd start going to the bars because I was like, and I wasn't drinking, I wasn't using, but I was dancing with men that weren't my husband. So I protected myself from the alcohol and the drugs,
but you were still looking for that affection, and that connection, and the love that you never really felt.
Yeah, and the devil is cunning, baffling, and powerful. He's sneaky.
Yeah.
Like at the time, he
uses karaoke.
Yeah, karaoke. So, yeah. I should say that the 21 years, 23 years that I was trying to get sober, in and out, my excuses were, I'm just gonna sing karaoke. I'm just going to sing. I'm just gonna gamble a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. And in my mind, I believed that.
Yeah.
I believed the stuff I was telling myself, and now I know it's all a lie. But I would do that for 23 years, in and out. And Mark and I ended up getting a divorce. And after we were together 2 years, it took us 9 years to get a divorce. So because neither of us were responsible enough to file papers, but I would abandonment, and that probably comes from my dad. The abandonment would come in.
Yeah.
That I just would abandon Jacob too. About the same age as Tanika.
Yeah.
And so they have both been abandoned by their mother, and then at, I don't know, trying to figure out where. So I would come in and out, and probably about 2009, my daughter, I ended up going, I got in a relationship with a guy, and I broke a window out of a house, and I got in some trouble, and I said, I was just joking, and I said, if somebody would just take my kids, I'd go to treatment. And these people stepped up and said, well, we'll take your kids.
Wow.
And I went to treatment, and it didn't stop there, but it got me. My daughter decided to go live with her real dad, which she'd never met before.
Wow.
Yeah, so she went to go live with her dad.
And how old was she at this time, do you think?
Tanika was 13 or 14.
Yeah,
Okay.
she was a teenager.
She was a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was in middle school.
Okay.
So she moved with me to Pendleton and then went and lived with her dad. Or no, she went and lived with her dad first. While I can't remember. She went and lived with her dad, though. That's the important part.
Yeah.
But Jacob was living with his dad. And, yeah, they did live with me because I was in the treatment housing, and then they left, and so I had to leave treatment housing. And I had nothing left, and I ended up moving back to Albany, and I hadn't used or anything, but I was really depressed. And I had been dating a guy in Pendleton. Just see, it's part of my story.
Yeah.
I met a man. And so I came back to Albany, and I was living in one of the sober houses, and I was just like trying to make it through the day, I'm just miserable, and I'm calling my mom, and she's like, "Don't use, I'll send you back to Pendleton." So I go back to Pendleton, and I'm just depressed. I'm just like, I want my kids back. I'm doing everything right. I think I'm doing everything right. I do this, and they take my kids, and my kids don't want me anymore. And my boyfriend's like, I'm living with him. And he's like, you got to do something. You got to go take a shower. You got to go do something. Get out of bed, because I'd been there for a while.
Yeah.
And I went to work for Salvation Army, and I'm ringing the bell.
Angry Santa.
Merry Christmas. It was just sad.
Wow.
They didn't make any money off me. So. But it started, that's where it started, was things started to change there. I was moving forward. I was going to school. I went to college for a little while, and then my kids started to move back. And the guy I was with was not. I thought, man, he's just so great. He wasn't great. He's not great.
Yeah.
But I wasn't great either. I mean, I'm the problem too. So my kids are living with us, and we end up moving back to Albany. Because my boyfriend's going to go to OSU. And so I had talked him into moving here. And I think I got loaded a couple more times while I was here. Gambling is a big thing. I was gambling, and sooner or later that's all going to lead to one thing for me. And what had happened was I had 5 years sober, and I was driving on Airport Road, and I heard a voice, which was not mine, It was an intrusive thought. Why don't you just drive your car off the freeway? Right? And that freaked me out. And so I went to a meeting and
Wow.
yeah. And I had a woman share with me, she says, I have a solution for you. And it's the same solution they always had, God. God is the solution, right?
Yeah.
And so she started to work the steps with me, and when I started working the steps, I was working them, and I think that I did a 9th step, and I didn't get the results. Now the 9th step is when I make amends to somebody, and it's supposed to be to apologize to them and ask them if they need anything from me. Like, how can I make this right? I was waiting for them to make it right with me.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out that way. And I think that I was looking for that. Like,
Yeah.
see, this stuff isn't going to work for me. I'm never going to be able to be sober. And 7 months after that, I got loaded because I got prideful and just stopped working.
So how long had you been sober at that point before you?
5 years.
I think it was 5 years.
Was it 5 years? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then, yeah. So I had 5 years, got sober for 2 more.
Okay.
I think I got a DUI. I went back out. I smoked some pot or something. Because my whole family's smoking pot by now. Like, my whole family, my mom's like, don't ever do drugs. And now she's smoking pot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It's probably legal. It was probably legal
Yeah,
by
it
then. Yeah.
Well, my dad, they're growing it. And my stepdad, he's an amazing man. But he's got his own issues. And he's got, fentanyl and stuff. He's addicted to the fentanyl and stuff. So, patches, not
Prescription.
prescription.
Back stuff.
So, so my whole family's just like sick.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing it. I mean, I'm seeing it. But they're smoking pot, and I'm like, I don't know where. It's just like pops in there, like, why can't you smoke pot then? Like, if they're gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And I smoke so much pot, I get sick. And I'm already like, I had enough time where in AA where I have a key to the building, and I'm doing all this, but once I smoke pot, and I'm like, I have to give it back. And
Yeah.
so I ended up drinking. I got a DUI, woke up in jail. I don't even remember how I got there.
Wow.
I was at a bar, and my brother was there. And he's like, "You're not an alcoholic. You can drink." I'm like, oh, "Okay." I was just looking for somebody to say something.
You're
So I get
just
a
waiting
DUI.
for someone to give you permission
Yeah.
to do the things
My whole
that
life,
really
that's-
still were like in your soul to
Right.
want to do.
Right. I fought a lot. I mean, like, what did Paul say? I don't do what I want to. I don't do what I should do, but I do what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Like, that was me a lot. Like, and through this whole time, I am like, when I'm like, I haven't really found a relationship with Jesus, because it's still a plastic. It's still like the God of the universe instead of the God.
It's
of
almost
the
fictional at that point.
Right. Well, and it's out here.
A good idea,
Yeah.
so to speak. Yeah.
And also, she views herself as unlovable.
Yeah, yeah. And so, so I would, I got a new sponsor. That sponsor that I had ended up drinking. So, I mean, it just, building the case, like, this isn't going to work for anybody.
So any part of stability was always crushed.
Yeah.
Like when you got.
Yeah. And so, and I had been, back in 94, I had started going to Jesus Pursuit, 95. So there were people that loved me. I would go there loaded, and people would love me anyway. They loved me. And I would tell everybody, go to Jesus Pursuit. Like, yeah. And it was Vineyard at the time. So,
Yeah.
and so homeless people go in there, how did you hear about us? Nicole told us to come here.
Same.
Yeah.
So, but I couldn't stay, so I couldn't, like, shame and guilt would keep me away.
Yeah.
Like, it separates. It tells us that I'm different than, right? I remember Dave Newman telling me, like, I would go there, and he'd be like, yeah, I really struggled with pot, but God set me free, and you can be free, right?
Yeah.
And so I would hear that from people, like, all these these 12-step programs I was going to, they were like, don't trust those church people. And I
Really?
yeah, I'd be like,
Wow.
they're different. They don't understand us. But I would find us in church. Like they were us.
Yeah.
They just went to church.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I didn't, I have a real cognitive dissonance with it. So, so during that time, this last time when I got the DUI, I tried to plead guilty and they wouldn't let me. Right? They wouldn't let me plead guilty. I knew I knew that I did it, and they made me wait. But during that time, my sponsor 2 years prior to that had me write a letter about the man I wanted to marry. And I'm like, God, dear God, he's got to be able to stand my storms. He's got to be humorous. He's got to be good looking. He's got to do all this stuff. I had just a checklist.
And then the Lord was like, whoa.
Well, he was making it. He was there, but I didn't know him yet. And, I met a
Next
guy
time
in
on the
AA.
Jump in the River
He came in and he's a
podcast,
Christian.
Mike and
He said he was a
Nicole
Christian,
continue
and
to
he's
tell us
all
their
for it.
story
It's like,
in part 2.
oh, there's the answer to my prayer. I was welding, and the Holy Spirit told me to leave you alone because he had something better for you.
Oh, wow.
What we have to do is love God with our heart, mind, soul, right? Strength. And then we love our neighbors ourselves. And I can't do any of that without him.
They put me in a cell. I freak out, tie the door shut, break the sprinkler system, flood the cell. I'm just trying. This guard comes by and slides a Bible under the door. And
A guard came by and
came by and slid a Bible under my door.
Yeah.
In that cold cell with nothing.
Yeah.
And just said, God, either show me that you're real or kill me. I can't do this anymore. And I just asked for forgiveness. Stole a canoe, broke onto the middle.
I can talk to you.
The Willamette Queen, the paddle boat.
Yeah.
I broke onto the paddle boat, got an axe, chopped the canoe off the boat,
Sorry.
stole it, rode to an island where they could come. And I had control of that dog. I had it by the throat, and I was on top of it. And the SWAT team guys were like, release the dog or we're going to shoot you.
Oh, my
They
God.
were like, and I could tell by their voice.
Well,
It was
yeah.
going to happen.